Today is the first Friday of October, and so it is the World Smile Day. I celebrate that every year, and the whole thing about World Smile Day is to do one act of kindness to um, help make someone smile. And so I decided today that I would make a pie, and hopefully it'll make my husband smile. And um, of course, it's not limited to just our family to make smile, but anybody. And yesterday, my husband asked us we had a very large tomato plant, and it was in obstructing his vision for when he wanted to look at deer. And so he picked all the tomatoes off of that plant and um, made and ripped up that plant. We have other tomato plants, but that one was in the way. It was too big and whatever. So I had years ago heard about people that had made uh, green tomato pie, and it tastes like apple pie. So I was thinking that today I would try that. And earlier, I tried to video me making a pie, and I don't know what I did, but when I went to save it, it um, it's not there. So technical difficulties. So that video is not here. I will do another one of pie some other time. But I had looked over the internet for um, green tomato pie recipes, and there's a majority of different kinds. So I kind of made up my own. And being that the other video didn't work, I'll just tell you what I did. So I started out my making pie crust, and I used a deep dish pie and pie pan. And I started out with 2 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, and then I put in 1 stick of butter and a half cup of Crisco. Sometimes I use all Crisco, sometimes I use all butter, sometimes butter flavored Crisco and butter, just whatever I have. And they always seem to turn out fine. And so I usually put the flour in, put the salt in, then mix it up a little bit, then add the shortening, and then 7 tablespoons of ice water, and mix that up. And then make it into a ball, cut it in half, roll out the bottom dough, put it in the pie plate. And then I took almost 2 pounds of green tomatoes, which was about 6, and medium size. They weren't real big, medium size. And I saw one recipe where it said that you could chop them up, and most of the other ones have sliced. I imagine to make it look like apple pie. But something in my head says, I don't care how you slice it, tomato is not going to look like a slice of apple. So I chopped them up, ended up with 4 cups of chopped green tomatoes. And then I put 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in that. I also saw that you could put lemon juice, but my thinking was if we're trying to copy apple pie, then I'll use apple cider vinegar. So we'll see how it worked. And then in a separate bowl, I mixed 5 tablespoons of flour and then a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a quarter teaspoon of cloves. Mix those up, and then I put in 3/4 cup of sugar and 3/4 cup of brown sugar, and um, mix that all up. Mixed it with my um, apple or fake apples, green tomatoes, and mix that all up very good. Put it in the pie shell, dotted it with 2 tablespoons of butter, and then put the top crust on. Um, then just a little bit of milk I brushed on the top of the pie crust after I had sealed it, and sprinkled that with sugar, and cut slits in the top. Baked it at 350. I started out with 30 minutes. That wasn't enough. I added another 10, and that wasn't enough. So I added another 10, and that seemed to look fine. And um, so 50 minutes. It could even have maybe went in for an hour. So um, we'll see how this works, and see if I do make my husband smile on World Smile Day. And on an added note, I'm wearing a t-shirt that my husband had bought me for Christmas one year, and my earrings that my grandson had made me that have smiley faces, because um, they know I like smiley faces. Because isn't it better to smile than to not? And I will let you know in the next little bit how that pie turned out. After allowing that pie to cool, and we had it for dessert, for dinner, um, my husband was a little leery because I told him first that it was made out of the green tomatoes. And um, he said that looking at it, you could maybe think it was rhubarb because of the green small pieces chopped up. So maybe it would have been better to slice them and then use that. I'm not sure. So I'm going to say that this was a success. Um, my husband liked it, and it turned out great.